Have you ever felt like your sexual desire was trying to tell you something deeper? Like underneath all that raw, burning energy, there's a secret you've never been taught how to unlock. Most people do one of two things with this energy. They either shut it down completely, or they waste it chasing temporary highs. But what if I told you there's a third option? What if that very energy could become the fuel for your deepest transformation? Carl Jung, the famous psychologist, saw something most people miss. He didn't see sexual energy as just a biological urge. He saw it as a bridge between who you are now and who you could become. And today, I want to show you exactly how to cross that bridge. Because here's the thing, every time you feel that pull, that magnetic attraction, that ache in your body, it's not just about the other person. Your unconscious mind is trying to get your attention. It's pointing you towards something inside yourself that's ready to be born. But in our modern world, we've got it all backwards. We've become addicted to the surface level of this energy. We confuse quick stimulation with deep satisfaction. We mistake intensity for intimacy. We're constantly consuming but never truly feeling full. And that emptiness you feel afterwards? That's your soul crying out for something real, something meaningful, something that actually feeds you instead of just temporarily distracting you. Think about it. When was the last time you felt truly alive? Not because you consumed something, but because you actually contained something. Most of us have never learned how to hold our own energy. We either stuff it down or explode with it. But there's another way. The ancient alchemists knew this secret. They understood how to take raw, chaotic energy and transform it into gold. Not literal gold, but the gold of wisdom, of presence, of becoming who you really are. In Jung's psychology, this isn't about eliminating your desires, it's about elevating them. It's about taking that wild, untamed energy and channeling it into something sacred, into creativity, into healing, into spiritual awakening. But first, we need to talk about something Jung called projections. Here's what happens. We all carry within us an image of our ideal masculine or feminine. Jung called these the animus and anima, and we project these images onto other people. That's why sometimes you meet someone and they seem almost magical. That's why attraction can feel like destiny, because in that person you're seeing a piece of your own soul reflected at you. But here's the catch: until you realize what's happening, until you reclaim that projection and recognize that what you're truly yearning for lives inside you, you stay trapped. You stay addicted to the illusion and never reach the real thing. This is why the same patterns keep repeating. You think it's about finding the right person, but really, it's about finding the right relationship with yourself. The real work begins when you stop asking, "How can I get them to want me?" and start asking, "What is this energy trying to teach me?" When you stop running from your own desire and instead get curious about it. So how do you actually transform this energy? It starts with presence. The next time you feel that familiar stirring, don't immediately act on it. Don't escape into fantasy or distraction. Just stay with it. Sit in it. Feel the sensation in your body. Breathe into it. Ask yourself, what does this energy want to become if I don't try to control it? At first, it's going to feel intense, maybe even overwhelming. But if you stick with it, something incredible happens. The energy starts to shift. It softens. It rises. You begin to feel it moving through your heart, through your throat, and through your mind. It starts showing you things, insights, memories, and creative ideas. It becomes a teacher instead of a master. This is where breakthrough moments happen. This is where clarity emerges. Because instead of wasting your most potent energy on external distractions, you're honoring it as sacred fuel. Jung called this process the inner marriage, the union of opposites within yourself. Every time you contain your energy instead of externalizing it, you're feeding that inner union. You're calling your soul back home. This doesn't mean becoming cold or detached. It means becoming conscious. It means letting go of compulsive patterns and refusing to use your energy to chase illusions. But here's where it gets real. This journey isn't always beautiful. Sometimes it's painful. Why? Because sexual energy brings up everything you've buried. Every wound, every unmet need, every shameful memory. It doesn't just awaken pleasure, it awakens your shadow. And this is where most people bail out. They get overwhelmed and think something's wrong. But actually, they're standing at the edge of deeper healing. Because those shadow parts, the angry, needy, jealous parts of you, they're holding your energy hostage. They're the internal saboteurs blocking your transformation. Jung said, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." So, if your sexual energy triggers darkness, good. That means you're getting close to the real work. When you stop running from those parts and start integrating them, you create a vessel strong enough to hold more energy, more power, and more life. This is the turning point where you stop using sexual energy to escape yourself and start using it to reveal yourself. This shift changes everything, especially your relationships. You begin to feel more alive, not because you're chasing stimulation, but because you're anchored in your essence. Your presence becomes magnetic, not because you're performing, but because you're embodying something real. People feel it. They may not know why, but they sense something different about you. A depth, a calm fire, a fullness that can't be faked. From this place, desire itself begins to evolve. You're no longer pulled toward people because of unconscious projections. You're drawn to what mirrors your soul, to connections that reflect your growth, that challenge you to expand rather than shrink. Sexual energy becomes spiritual discernment. It's no longer just a craving for pleasure, it becomes a compass for authenticity. You begin to feel at the level of your nervous system, which aligns with your path, and who pulls you away from it. This doesn't mean you stop feeling attraction. Actually, your capacity for pleasure and connection increases, but you're no longer enslaved by it. You're free to choose, and that freedom is everything. So, let's talk about how to actually practice this. Start with awareness. Create rituals around your energy. Instead of releasing it through old habits, create a sacred space. Light a candle, write in a journal, paint, dance, and pray. Not to suppress your desire, but to give it form. Let it move through your body, your breath, and your hands. This is what ancient mystics understood, that Eros isn't just about pleasure, but about presence. Jung was fascinated by alchemy because it mirrored this psychic process. Raw matter undergoes heat and pressure before it becomes gold. Your sexual energy is that raw matter, and your consciousness is the fire. When you hold the fire and stay in the process, the gold appears not outside you, but inside, in the form of wisdom, clarity, and wholeness. This journey isn't about abstinence or indulgence. It's about integration, about learning to work with your energy as a sacred ally, about becoming someone who doesn't just seek love but embodies it. In a conscious relationship, intimacy becomes a mirror. It shows you where you're free and where you're still chained. Every touch, every gaze, every moment of presence becomes an invitation to bring more of yourself into the light. This is what Jung called the sacred marriage, the union of masculine and feminine, not just between two people, but within each individual. The body becomes a temple, the act of love becomes a ritual, desire becomes devotion. But this level of intimacy can only be sustained if your relationship to your own energy is conscious. If you're still looking for someone else to validate or complete you, your sexual energy will be hijacked by wounded patterns. True intimacy doesn't dissolve identity, it refines it. The deeper you merge with someone consciously, the more whole you become individually. Because a real connection doesn't erase you, it reveals you. There comes a moment when you realize you're no longer who you used to be. The same energy that once led to confusion now becomes your compass. The same desire that created chaos now channels creation. The longing that felt like a curse opens you to a love so vast it doesn't depend on anyone, it flows from you. This is the revolution Jung pointed to. Not outside, but inside. A revolution of consciousness, of presence, of power. So I ask you, what will you do with this energy? Will you continue seeking outside? Or will you begin the real adventure within? If this resonated with you, share it with someone who needs to remember their power. Let's create a space where people can return to themselves, where they remember that sexuality isn't a distraction from the spiritual path, it is the path when approached with reverence and awareness. Every share helps this wisdom reach further and helps more people step into themselves. This isn't just a movement of minds, it's a movement of hearts. So if you're ready, let's awaken what has been asleep. Let's turn energy into evolution. Together.